Welcome to Inside Excellence, where we journey through the life of exceptional individuals making a difference in their community and industry. Today we spend 48 hours with Mrs. Blessing, the visionary founder of Springfield Fashion Academy. Her passion for fashion and commitment to empowering young women have transformed this academy into a place of growth,
It's my first kid.
creativity, and opportunity.
My name is Blessing Wood. I am the creative director at Springfield Fashion Academy. This is a fashion training institute where we train both children and adults from age 6 to age 60.
Can you tell us a bit about your journey into fashion?
My journey into fashion started at a very young age. I remember at age 3, I watched my cousin Elizabeth sew, and she would come to my grandmom's house with her travel mate. Those sewing machine you can travel with. The young me watching her create something wholesome from pieces of clothes that I've seen her cut. But all I know is that I was very fascinated. I was so interested, like how can somebody go from this to producing this? So that was my first exposure to fashion. And then as I was growing up, I noticed that my mom would buy me a dress, but all I can see in that dress is a skirt and blouse. And I would loosen the dress and turn it into something else. So it got to a point that my mom would be warning me, Blessing, I will not buy you any dress again because you're wasting my money. And I remember it was after I had my last baby that my mom came to my house and she was like, Blessing, please forgive me. You actually showed me who you were, but I didn't get it. Now, connecting that to my background, I grew up in a farming community. And in that environment, we have this peculiar problem where girls were kind of sent off to marry early and then the boys were sent to school. And I would see a young, beautiful girl, a teenager, she will grow up, she will get married, and then a few months down the line, I will see her with pregnancy or babies on her back, and she will be looking so miserable. And I just felt like something was wrong. As I got older, I understood why they looked that way. They didn't have any skill, they didn't have any form of education, and so it's almost like they were at a disadvantage in life.
What inspired you to start your own academy?
What inspired me was God. I wanted to do fashion, but a different fashion. I wanted to go into fashion production where I produce and then I will deal with wholesalers, producing and dealing with fashion retailers. Remember, my passion as a child was to empower women, to help them escape the trap of poverty and early marriage. When God was pushing me to go into this part of fashion, which is fashion education, I resisted it. When God was pushing me, remember that at my core, I want to help people, I want to empower people. This academy grew out of that passion to empower people. And it came from the place that, look, you can be poor, but when you're skilled, you can live the life of your dream. That if God has given you 2 hands, you can create. So what we do is to put skill on that creativity that is already inside of you. It's like when you have a power bank and you charge it, the power bank is already there, but you're empowering the power bank so you can draw power from it for your phone. At Springfield, over the years, we've seen people who came here, they were house helps, and the joy I had is each time we have that kind of students, the joy I have is that her children will have a different or a better opportunity than she had. Because if a woman is not financially empowered, what it means is that her child wouldn't be. The child wouldn't go to the kind of school she would naturally go to. But as a child, you wouldn't figure out what was wrong. So as I was growing up, My dream as a human being then was, how can I help these women to be happy? And I think part of the problem also was in the poverty, because people didn't have enough, so they had to choose, okay, between the boys and the girls, who do we send to school? And they chose to send the boys. I kept writing in my diary year after year that was going to empower lives, but it never connected for me that fashion would be that means of that empowerment until I had finished school.
What challenges did you face in the beginning and how did you overcome them?
The challenges we faced at Springfield from the beginning is not that different from the challenge that every small startup face, especially in an environment where a woman kind of owned business or women owned businesses lack access to funding, lack access to opportunities like their male counterparts. So it was not easy to like get funding or loans from bank and all of that. So we started small. So the first challenge is having enough resources to get all the equipment that we needed. But then what we did was to start where we are with what we have and then grow the business from there.
Was it like to manage an academy like this daily?
What it takes to run an academy, a training school like Springfield, um, it takes a lot. It takes a team. I have a wonderful team here. There's nobody who can stand alone and run an academy, because we're empowering people with skill, and because what we're doing is hands-on, what we're doing is real. What it takes for me is having the right team. It's easier for you to achieve your goals. And what is our goal here? We're empowering people with skill, in transferring knowledge.
How do you structure your classes to ensure students get technical skill and creative freedom?
So in order to achieve our set goals at Springfield, which is to empower people with skill, we are structured. I'm talking about structure. We value structure at Springfield because how tall the building is going to go depends on the foundation. And that foundation is just the pillars and the structures holding that business or the building. And so at Springfield, we have a curriculum. The curriculum tells what a student is going to learn from day one until they graduate. And this curriculum has actually covered everything they need to learn and grow as fashion designers. And so, because we have structure, it makes it easy for us to actually teach following the structure on ground. Every week, we have classes already structured that this is what we're going to learn, this is what we're going to do, these are the practicals we're going to do. So the students knows ahead of each week what they are going to learn. We value structure a lot. For us, having the right structure is like starting to build a house and having the right foundation, the right pillars. Like here, we always say that what determines how high your building is going to be is the foundation.
What key skills do you focus on to prepare students for the industry?
The key skills we focus on in preparing the students for their future in the fashion industry in Africa and globally, it's both the fashion skill and the business skill. Getting the fashion skill at Springfield is easy because of the way we structured the academy, the way they learn. But being the best designer wouldn't prepare you for the industry. The industry is very competitive, and so we go deep and we teach them the business of fashion, which takes them from scratch of how to write their business plan, how to choose their niche. The niche is like the corner of the industry or the market they want to play in. And so anyone who finishes from Springfield understands this, how to price, we take them through the pricing class, we take them through the production, the manufacturing, how to source their fabrics, and even down to how to build their team. Because you can have the best intentions and have the resources, but when you have the wrong team, then you're going to run your business down. So we prepare them so they are prepared on the skill parts, like they finish well. Here we emphasize on excellence, on finishing properly, knowing what you should do and how you should do it, and then organizing the business, knowing how to start, grow, and scale their businesses.
How do you help students find their creative voice while teaching essential techniques?
Every human being that God created is unique and different. And so at Springfield from day one, we emphasize on every student having the creative freedom and having the confidence to be who they are. So we teach you the technique, but you bring in who you are. That's what makes you stand out. We all have different personalities. What one student likes is not what other students will like. And so when they have the skill, when they know how to be the best, and then they bring in their personality, make them stand out from day one.
I'm a student of Springfield Fashion Academy.
How long have you been a student here?
A month and a week.
So far so good. Would you say you have the value of your money?
Seriously, what I have learned here is something that I cannot buy with money. My struggles as a student in Springfield Academy is just the sketching. I'm not good at sketching, but I think the first time I came here, couldn't draw a curve. But at this point, I'm perfect because of my teachers, my tutors here.
I was about asking a question concerning your instructors. How would you say your instructors has helped you to overcome your challenges?
My instructors are very welcoming, they're very nice, and they don't really feel disgusted while you ask them questions. You know, there are some people that if you ask them something, they will be irritated or angry or tired, but they're always welcoming, and when you achieve the perfect maybe assignment, they'll be very happy and they'll make you feel good, you know.
What have you achieved so far as a student here?
I've achieved a lot. Like before, I am someone that don't interact with people. I know a lot of people, but I don't like interacting with people, and I don't know how to express myself before. But here, you know, when you're learning something, you have to, especially fashion designing.
Empowering women through fashion. What does it mean to you to empower women through fashion?
What it means to us at Springfield to empower lives, especially women. It needs somebody who doesn't know something before. You take them from that zero to expert level. Somebody who never knew how to sew before, who never even knew how to thread the sewing machine, starts from that point of not knowing to the point of becoming an expert. So, and that empowerment, just like I've said before, is we are putting skill on the talent they carry, their creativity, and teaching them how to earn from that creativity. For us at Springfield, it's not enough that you know how to sew, you know how to design, you're the best designer, but can you earn from your crafts? Can you earn from what you produce? Do you know how to make money when you wake up from what you produce? So going from not knowing how to sew to being the best at what you do and knowing how to position yourself to earn from that creativity or craft, for us, that's the empowerment we're talking about.
Wow,
So it's like we're empowering them. We're giving them financial freedom through fashion. For us, the end game is you making money, the student making money from what they know. We teach them how they can create their own wealth, that you don't have to depend on government, depend on your parents, depend on anyone. You can create your own wealth.
How do you ensure that each student, no matter their background, feel valued and included?
Springfield is a community of smart creatives. And so here we don't see gender, we don't see color, we don't see tribes, we don't see religion. We see people that God has made and that God has sent to us to empower. We also know that this will be the next generation of designers and that they carry the name of Springfield on their shoulders as they live here into the industry. And for us, another end game for us is that we're creating a chain of productivity in our nation and we're creating a chain of productivity in the world. Because even though they are trained locally, they are also global citizens. For some of our students, they have finished the training and they are no more within the shores of Nigeria. They have, you know, gone to other countries and they've gone on to start their brand in those countries because they know what to do. So for us, making everyone feel included, feel loved, and feel seen is very important. And I think the result of that is in the number of students who come here and who graduate and how successful they become. The community we create, the environment, it is friendly, it is peaceful, and it's safe. We train young children. We train from age 6. This place is so amazing that some of them, when their parents come to pick them up, they make them wait 30 minutes, they make them wait 1 hour. They don't want to go home. It's an environment that helps everyone to thrive. And we also encourage that bonding and working together.
Oh yeah, in terms of relationship with other colleagues, so far so good. Everybody seems nice. Everybody's working and laughing and talking. No problem. We all seem to like each other.
Well, everything is going well. Everyone is very welcoming. The teachers they communicate very well. They teach very well. The everyone here is friendly. We're all working together, so it's very convenient. Space is very convenient.
Working with the facilitators is I can rate from 1 to 10. I would say 9 because they are very willing and they are very good and they are friendly and they are willing to assist in everything. They are willing to assist. They take out their time to explain issues when we have to explain everything.
The working environment is very conducive. Like I love learning here. The students, Mrs. Blessing, and the other facilitators, they're very nice. Like everyone is working, so you don't even have time to argue because you'll be very busy here. You will be always busy. Trust me. Every time, as you can see, everyone is busy. Nobody has time for anything.
Well, so far so good. Still learning. I've made my first kit. My first kit, and it's a full circle skirt. This is what we call a full circle skirt. I made it. My first ever attempt.
Hi, my name is Lilian Uduchendo Uzumi, and this is my first kit. Wow.
What role has resilience played in your own journey?
Um, for every human being, for you to succeed at whatever you do, you need to be resilient. You need to have patience. You need to. Anyone who's in business will tell you that the business terrain is very tough, especially in our climate or in our environment. Um, there's a lot of frustrating factors in business. For example, the greatest frustrating factor in Nigeria is power, the lack of power. Everything depends on power. I need electricity to power our equipment. I need electricity to do the work that we do. But you know how it is in an environment that it's tough. So being able to be patient. Honestly, running a business can teach you that. I'm also a mom. And having young children, every mom can tell you that your children will stretch your patience to the limit. And so those things have prepared me, or even far back as in reading and passing my exams in school. So I think we journey through life and we pick these kind of skills to help us later. So all those kind of came together to help me. But at my core as a human being, I'm actually a patient person. So that's why we're able to work with little children.
How do you help your students build resilience? You already have the virtue, you already have the characteristics. How do you pass on these characteristics to your fellow students, to your students in your academy?
And how we help our students to build up their resilience and their patience. When from day one when they come in, we have a little bit of orientation for them. And in this orientation, one of the things we emphasize is look, you have to be patient with yourself. You're 15 years old, you're 20 years old, you're 30 years old, you've never done this before in your life. And it's not magic, it is skill acquisition. So, what it means is that you have never done this, you have to give yourself time to um, to get what we're trying to pass to you. You cannot come in here and in a day or two or 1 week and feel like, oh, I should be doing this. And I think because we're structured, so our structure, they kind of take them like a building block. So you build one on one on one on one. So step by step, they are growing. So you remember asking me why they keep talking about their first skirt. That was them conquering their fear for use of the machine, their doubts that can I do this? Am I sure this is for me? So once they make that first step, that's it. Then it breaks down a lot of barriers and they start building that resilience because once you can do one thing, your confidence grows and you feel like if I've done this yesterday, I can do this today.
My name is Amarachi.
My name is Joshua.
We've been in this academy for 2 months. I have been able to get the value of what I paid for in this academy. I've made multiple skirts, a dress, and I'm currently working on a bumper jacket. So this is the back of my bumper jacket, and these are the front. Well, I did watch a fashion show, and there was someone who did a lot of patchwork, and I kind of got inspired by that. The learning environment is conducive for me. My instructors are very helpful. Anytime you need any support, they are there.
My name is Joshua. I'm here to learn fashion and how to make clothes. It was my decision to be in this fashion school. It's not really a competition, but me and my sister are trying to improve our sewing so that we can add it to our business that we already have established. I just like clothes that look good, to be honest. That really inspires me because I like to feel good when I'm wearing clothes, and I like it, and I like clothes that I make to look good, and for me to feel proud of what I've made. I feel very proud of myself. I feel very happy that I've been able to achieve something like this. Yeah, this is my bumper jacket that I made today. It's not quite finished, but I'm getting there.
Well, I believe creativity is in every child. So I feel that by enrolling them in this course is going to bring out that inherent creative skills that is already in them. It's an avenue to express themselves and gain confidence. So far, so good. I am happy with their progress. So the future is that they already have a business that is established, which is the rhinestone business. and it's just giving them an added skills. So if they wish to expand, their business into clothing, actually making clothing, they've got the skills that is necessary to do that. And most importantly, when you're learning fashion, it's a skill that requires patience. So the key thing is about character building. So apart from just making clothes, in the process of making clothes, you have to be patient. Sometimes you make mistakes. Sometimes you have to undo your mistakes. Sometimes you get frustrated, but you're able to start and finish a project. So that's a transferable skills. So they might decide that, okay, I'm just going to make my own clothes. I don't want to take it into a business. But at least if they become, say, engineers, doctors, or whatever, they've got that skills, that is necessary for anything you want to achieve in life. Okay, so basically they had a training um, before on rhinestone embellishments, on different surfaces, and then they came up with a business, called Pockets and Blinks. So it's, I mean, that's another thing. Understanding entrepreneurship from a young age is also a skills that is transferable. So they started that business. They were, designing T-shirts, and they have some clientele. They sell them online. So I encourage them, because I feel that in the world that we're in now, you can't just be looking for job. You can create your own job, and if you can start early, it's better for you. So that's why I encourage them to start that business.
I'm an instructor in charge of the intermediate class. There's the basic slash foundation, the intermediate, and then the advanced. 3 levels. Our basic class lasts for 3 months. So when you come, start the basic training for the first 3 months. After 3 months, then you're qualified to go into intermediate. So my role as an instructor basically involves teaching students, guiding them, making sure they do their assignments. It's quite an interesting role. Teach them, you make sure they draft their patterns, because here we work with pattern drafting. So you make sure they draft their pattern, after which they get to cut their fabric and then they sew. First off, I was a student, came here to learn how to sew myself. After which I left the place. It was very conducive, very welcoming, especially the students, even the instructors at that time. They were very welcoming and very nice. So at the end of it, I decided, at the end of my training as a student, I decided to stay back and join them, and they took me in. One of the things I think makes us stand out is our method of teaching. So basically, like I explained before, our method of teaching is in such a way that no matter how slow you are in learning, because we teach like we're teaching kindergarten kids, we're going to get it right. So I think that's what makes us stand out, is our teaching method. I hope they take away that, first off, in life, you have to work hard. You have to show up every day. Even if you do not get it right today, you're going to get it right tomorrow. And then you also have to be patient with yourself, work hard, practice, make sure that you keep doing it. One day you get it right. What I enjoy most is watching someone who has zero skills come in here, and sometimes you watch them struggle, sometimes you watch them even shed tears thinking that they will never make it in the fashion world. And then one day, boom, they're just around their design and stuff. The atmosphere of the academy is extremely conducive. The instructors are well behaved, they are ready to teach, work, listen to the students, and so are the students too. They're very respectful. Everything is conducive. Piece of advice I would give them is that, like I have said before, they should keep showing up. They should keep doing it one day at a time. One day they will look back and just find out that they have grown incredibly.
Now, working with her has taught me that, first of all, I want to say she's very resilient when it comes to teaching. Very, very resilient and hardworking. So working with her has improved me in a lot of ways. I've learned how to be more patient, how to take it one step at a time. It's one of the very most important things she teaches, one step at a time. Take a break when you need to take a break. Don't force yourself. Also, you have to be, just keep showing up. One day you get it right.
I'm one of the tutors, the beginners class. As an instructor in beginners class, the beginners class is the very first class any student comes to. There's a joy you derive from impacting knowledge. It's like having a clean slate, and you can put down whatever you want on that slate. So you can impact knowledge, fashion knowledge in this case, into any student that comes across you. And you derive joy when you see them growing from having no knowledge at all about fashion to learning it and becoming perfect in it. My role is very, very vital because it's just like the very beginning of life, the kindergarten of it, the foundation of it. If I get it wrong with them, everything goes wrong. I try to make them feel at home. I try to always be there for them, to guide them through in whatever thing that they are doing. If there are any mistakes, I try to make sure I'm there to correct and help out. Let me start from the very first class I take beginners. Tape reading. Tape reading is very, very important in fashion because once you get it wrong, every other thing you're doing is wrong. Even if you know how to sew, you are perfect at it, but your tape reading, you don't get it right, you don't interpret it right, everything goes wrong. So that is one of the very things I take my students on, so that they will learn everything and understand tape reading. Well, I try to make the class fun, not too technical or too boring. I try to carry them along as I teach, so it helps to make them quite engaged, and it also helps them to actually understand what I'm doing and to remember it. So I encourage them not to enclose themselves in a box, to think outside the box, so that whatever basic they have, whatever foundation they get, they can actually improve on it. Well, one of those challenges would be, the most common among them is actually handling the machine, because most of them have never actually handled one. So when they try to use the sewing machine, it tends to give them a little bit of trouble before they'll get the hang of it at the end of the day. Build their confidence, because the sewing machine is just like riding a bicycle. So once you just put your mind to it, you can actually do it. You just take your time, go gently, and you can actually get the hang of it and learn how to use the machine. One of my summer break students, when she came along, the very first days of her stay with us was quite hard on her. She struggled and struggled and struggled and could not master how to use the machine. But with lots of love and encouragement, she was able to overcome that. At the end of the day, she was like our best student. She was always doing her assignments and her work was so impressive. Well, one advice I'll give them is that they should always believe in themselves. Even if you feel overwhelmed, you just take a little break, sit back, then get back to it. And you'll notice that the doubts will just fly out through the window.
I am an assistant instructor. I take the level 1 students, that's the foundation and intermediate. When we have new students, we'll give them a little orientation about fashion. Even though some of them already have an idea about fashion, but once they come, we take them step by step on what they should know as a fashion designer, which goes from teaching them on how to read your tape, because that's the very important tool you cannot forget about. Because if there's any mistake in your measurements, it means that your outcome is not going to be fine. So you teach them about tape reading, you teach them about body measurements, how they use their tape to measure, and then how they cut their fabrics. starting from their lectures, once they start their first classes, so you take them on how to cut their fabrics, from cutting to sewing to other things. So you make sure that their measurement is correct. You make sure that they are sewing accurately, they're using the right measurements to sew. So you guide them and make sure that once the outfit is made, it comes out beautiful. Okay, the project I assign to students is that they must do their practicals. After each class, you must do your practicals. You must show them to your instructor to check. How I help my students to find their voice in fashion designing. Yes, words of encouragement. You tell them you can do it. Because fashion is really and then they have to be patient. If you're not patient, you will not go a long way in fashion, because sometimes maybe after the first stage, they're exhausted. They don't even Some students don't want to even go further. But by talking to them and doing it with them, telling them that they can actually do this. Okay, the practical projects they do to develop, there are so many of them. There's so many. They do like trousers, jumpsuits, kimono. Once they get to that level, they now know that, they can trend in fashion. The way I measure my students at the foundation and intermediate level is when I see that, okay, they can now come out with beautiful outfits and they are confident in what they make because they wear them. So they are happy. You can see it in them that they are happy that they are actually producing what they can wear.
As a startup, how easy was it for you to access funding and loans?
When we started, in our environment, it's not where you walk into a bank and say, hey, I have this idea, I have this dream, and I want to start a business, I want to start training school that will empower people and make them productive. So can I get loan? So it's not that easy, and there's another part to it. As an entrepreneur, I believe that for me, I'm not saying this is a blanket statement. For some people, maybe, but for me, I don't really want anyone to start business by borrowing. Like you start your business on loan. And I have a reason for that. When you take loan, you are liquid, and that is very deceitful. So you think, oh, I'm okay, I can pay my salary, and it keeps you from looking at the numbers, asking the right questions like, okay, where am I going to get this money to pay my staff? Where will I get this money to pay the rent, or pay the bills? So that cash, you being liquid, kind of blindings you, and that's why some businesses will start and within 1 year, 2 years they go under, and some will not just go under, but they'll be indebted. And so, in order to avoid that, what we did was to start from where we were with what we have. And so, Springfield started with only three, team members and three machines.
Why do you focus so much on the business aspect of fashion?
And let me add to that, funding and loan issue. So here we believe and we teach our students that they can start, with their savings. They can pull funds together from family and friends, and they can also get like angel investors that believe in their dream, that can help them just start up. Now, once they've started, it is better to borrow money or get loan for expansion, because by the time you're expanding your business, you're already established, you already have some structure on ground. So to the next question you asked me about why we focus so much on the business aspects of fashion in our training, it is because we know that you can be the best designer, you can be excellent, you can be perfect, but if you haven't figured out the business aspect, you will not make money or earn as much as you should from your creativity. And for us, the end game is that our students will finish here, finish well, and earn from their skill. When you look through the value chain in the fashion industry, the people who make the most money, they don't make the most noise because there are so many things that can be done with this skill. But if you understand the business or if you have the business skill, if you're equipped, you're able to start your business, build structure around it, set your goals, make your plan, and earn. For example, in this industry, especially in the fashion education sector, or will I say the niche or the corner, you see that students go round. Some students will go to a place and spend 1 year, spend 2 years. We've had students that came to Springfield after they spent 2 years somewhere else and they didn't learn much. And at the core of the mindset of the belief is that people who hold key to the skill do not feel comfortable transferring this skill. They feel like if I teach you what I know, you will take my customers. But understanding business, we give this statistic to our students. Like in Nigeria alone, average of 5 million babies are born every year. And everybody can be your customers. Your customers are not yet born. And knowing that you cannot serve everybody, and knowing that you have to choose a niche in the industry, when you understand this, you know that there's no fear in you teaching somebody else what you know because there's ever flowing, kind of customer um, stream. And so when a student understands that this is the corner I want to play in the industry, my customers are not even yet born, I have enough customers, and they understand the game of numbers, then they can, transfer the knowledge, they can teach other people. And it's not just knowing that you have, ever flowing stream of customers, but knowing where these customers are, defining who this customer is, what they like, what is their pain, what is their dreams, where do they live, what is it like to live a day in their lives, and all of that. So when you have all this defined, you know exactly what customer you're supposed to serve, and then in your messaging, you exactly talk to this particular customer. So when you understand who your customer is, where you're to find them, it makes it easy for you to not be anxious about competition.
What's the secret behind the success your student achieve within a short period of time?
The success that our students achieve within a very short time can it's not really kind of a secret. It's a known fact that when people are happy, when people are confident in what they are doing and they love what they do, they are going to excel in doing them, and they are going to be more productive, and they're going to achieve more results. So at Springfield, what we do is very simple. First of all, we try to address the fears that some of them come with. Some of them come in with doubts like, are you sure I'm going to do this? Are you sure I can achieve this within this period of time? And of course, the answer is yes. They see others achieving it, and they know that watching another person do it, they can do it. And at Springfield, we train young children as young as age 6. And if you come in as a teenager, as an adult, and you're seeing a child of 6, 7, 8 sitting on the sewing machine, drafting pattern and producing something, it kind of gives you confidence that if this child can do this, then I can also do that. So I think that's part of it. And then I think another part, or another aspect of that is that we've broken the complexities of this process, because the truth is fashion can be complex, but if you can break down these complex processes into a baby level procedures, then it's easy for everybody to achieve and understand. At Springfield, we train people who are not literate, somebody who couldn't read or write. And for us, that was our acid test because you can speak all the grammar to somebody who's educated. But what if somebody is not educated? How do you pass on this skill? So I think that over the years, we've proven that yes, we know what we're doing. Springfield started in 2018. So I think this is the sixth year, if I'm not mistaken, right? Yeah, for 2018.
So what's the success rate of your students?
Um, our completion rate is 100%. There's no single student who have ever passed through this school without completing their course. And for us, it's not just that they complete their course; they actually do very well. And a lot of businesses have started right in this class where we stay.